And finally, we will not stop at these modes of opening up our borders that I just talked about. The Multi-Ministry Taskforce will explore other practical schemes. And this is especially important for travelers from countries which are economically important to us, but with higher infection rates. And there are ways to facilitate these travelers to come to Singapore while managing the risk of virus transmission. Many stakeholders and members of the public have written to us with very well thought through and sensible ideas, and we are studying them carefully. In particular, we recognize that the requirement of having to serve a full 14-day SHN in a hotel will deter most travelers from wanting to come to Singapore. So we have to facilitate the visits without such an onerous restriction. For example, we can replace the 14-day SHN in a hotel with new requirements, such as a more stringent and a repeated test protocol. Arrival 3 days later, 5 days later, 7 days later, we'll study that. We can segregate them from the rest of the community, a process that we call bubble wrapping. And we can closely track their movements while they are here. This will benefit not just business travelers important to our economy, but a range of people who need to come to Singapore for various purposes, such as for compassionate reasons or to reunite with a long-separated partner. The message we want to send to the world is this: Singapore has started to reopen its borders. In the near future, if you have the virus under control and infection rates are as low as Singapore's, you are welcome to visit us. But travelers will be subject to a COVID-19 test as a precaution. If you are from a place where infection rates are higher than Singapore, you can also visit us so long as you agree to conditions such as testing, segregation, and contact tracing. The task force will be studying these approaches and developing the schemes. The men and women at our Changi Airport, they have worked very hard over the decades. I think brought a lot of pride to Singapore and Singaporeans, but now they are facing probably their biggest challenge since Singapore became independent. They have been on the front line, risking their own safety day in, day out for the past 16 months for a task that is entrusted upon them. And I think they really did their best. But unfortunately, this mutant virus, very virulent, it broke through the layers of defense. Changi Airport, they have plotted the first 20 over infections they have detected and found that they are quite congregated. Most, in fact, congregate around one zone. And this is the zone with a finger pier that receive higher risk countries' arrivals, including South Asia, and then the conveyor belt and immigration. So it's that whole zone. And infections were all around that area. So that zone is our equivalent of Ward 9D, like Tan Tock Seng Hospital. And from that zone, workers go have their lunch, go have their meals at the T3 basement 2 commercial areas and the food court. And we suspect from there, it transmitted to members of public that visited the place. The first worker case was detected 6th of May. From time to time, we do detect one case here, one case there. So on 6th of May, together with MOH, we did contact tracing, testing, quarantine. But on 8th of May, MOH detected the student who was infected after visiting Terminal 3, Basement 2 food court. So immediately the next day, we took action, closed down the entire commercial area in T3, Basement 2 for deep cleaning. And then we started special ops with MOH to test 9,000 workers in T1, T3, plus Jewel. And since we are testing Jewel, we also decided close Jewel for 2 weeks as a precaution. So as of last night, 7,641 has been tested. Almost 6,000 results are out. 6 were positive, and these 6 were detected in the first 2 days of the special odds. Lately, in fact, they have not been positive. What is noteworthy, 500 workers in Jewel has been tested, and results are out, and so far, all negative. However, this is one group. There's another group of workers who are close contact with earlier infection cases, so they have been in quarantine. They too are being tested, and so every day, past couple of days have been 10 cases. I think yesterday was 13 cases were tested positive, and this is the number that have been contributing to our community cases that has been reported. Of all the workers in Changi Airport, 28 of them infected. Majority, in fact, 19 of them, they have been fully vaccinated. And the last I checked, all are well, and no one is on oxygen. So we are cautiously hopeful that the airport worker cluster, just the worker cluster, hopefully can be contained through quarantine and testing, just like what has happened at the seaport and Tan Tock Seng.